Welcome back, Pride family. So let's get into a summary of the weapon. So the Switch Axe, as the name implies, is a weapon that switches between Axe mode and Sword mode with the press of the ZR button. If you look at the top left, there's a whole meter there, and there's a good amount of stuff going on, but don't worry, we're gonna cover all of it. So Axe mode is more of a means to an end for Sword mode. Why do I say this? This is because Axe mode is weaker than Sword mode. You have multiple range of attacks that you can use, but all of these attacks do less damage. But they build that meter so you can use Sword mode. Here's what I mean. If you go to Sword mode and you start attacking, you'll see that that meter on the top left continues to go down. That is very important to know because that means that they're trying to limit the amount of DPS that you can do just a bit. If it goes beneath that white tick right there, you'll notice that if I go to Axe mode, that's how it looks. If I hit reload, it's going to reload, but it takes 3 whole seconds. You can get mopped in 3 whole seconds, so you have to be careful with that. Additionally, you can just wait it out, and the meter will eventually go up over time to let you use the Sword mode again. But it's not that much, and it's not that high. You're better off just going out, healing if you need to, and attacking with the Axe mode to get it back up. But for now, let's get into the Axe mode moves. So with the Axe mode, you can press the X button 3 times to get this continuous 3-hit combo. If you press forward and X, you do this forward thrust lunging move, a lunge thrust, and it's really good and effective to just close the distance. My favorite is if you press X and A at the same time, you go up and then down, and then up and then down, which is really good to get tails, wings, and monsters with heads that are pretty high above the ground. Really good to cut those things and break these parts. If you press A multiple times, you're going to get this wild swing that continues to waste your stamina. You'll notice that other moves don't really waste your stamina, but this one does. Now, from that move, there's a lot of different things that you can do. Starting with, if you press the A button between one swing, the X button, you'll go straight into your 3-hit combo. Same if you press the X button in 2 swings. But if you press the X button in 3 swings, you'll go into the spinning slam, which activates high potency mode. You'll know this because you'll see the 2 arrows that have now come up in the top left of the screen. This is important because having those arrows on, whether you hit the monster or not, means that every time that the Switch Axe hits a monster, you're going to build Sword mode even faster. This allows you to maintain your sword upkeep time as much as possible. So if you really wanted to, just to be safe, when you see a monster, you can just swing 3 times or more and press the X button and boom, you're ready to go to keep your sword up as much as possible. There are other things that you can do from the wild swing, however. For example, you can press ZR to do a big animation forward and not switch into the sword mode. But if you press ZR multiple times during that, you'll see, let me get the Axe mode back out. You'll see that you can do that whole swing and transform straight into Sword mode. This is amazing because, especially if a monster is down and you're not in Sword mode yet, swing 3 times and immediately continue attacking in Sword mode. This is amazing to transition. See, the Switch Axe is such a versatile weapon, I can even hit ZR mid-sword combo and transition right back to the Axe. Now with that said, let's get into... I forgot about that move. After any attack, if you press back and A with the Axe mode, you can do a backwards hit. This has helped me when I've gone too far or rolled ahead to come back into a monster's face and keep doing damage. You can even do it again after any attack. Now, let's get into Sword mode. There is a lot to discuss here that I can't really show you without fighting a monster, so we'll go over the moves and then we'll go over utilizations. If you press the X button 3 times, you will end up with that overhead swing. Let's do that again. 1, 2, and 3. If you press the A button with the Sword mode, you will get 4 swings, ending in a very big hit in that leaping slash. fun fact, if you press the A button after this final hit of the X combo, you will do one extra swing and quickly go into the leaping slash. And lastly, for something extremely important to mention, for everybody's favorite switch axe move, if you press triangle and A at the same time and you keep pressing X, you will do this big explosion. That big explosion is very cool to do on a downed monster. Now note the amount of time that it takes to do that move. I'm gonna give you guys a real quick tip, right? That move, while it takes a bit to activate, if you activate it at the end of an A combo or anywhere in an A combo, you press X and A and you go immediately into it to further maximize your damage. Let me make sure if I was right about doing it in any A move. It doesn't work with X. If you press X and A, you still do the long animation. Keep in mind, if you find yourself doing this move at a bad time, just don't mash X and he will stop and you can get out. If you never mash X, you can get out immediately. But after any A move, you can go directly into X and A. Now that eats away at your sharpness, but it is very good to know. Don't just want to feel cool and press X and A for no reason. Make sure you press the A button at least one time so that you can get this going. Now if you can get the full combo going, here is what that looks like. X, 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 A 4 times, X and A. That is your big damage combo that you want to go for as soon as you can on a downed monster. Next, and now for the wire bug moves. Now your ZL and A is amazing, and not just because it's an evasive maneuver, which is already awesome for a weapon that can't really defend, but it gives you sword gauge back, even through the reload state of the meter. You can do it 2 times to get almost a full meter of sword mode, and after you do ZL and A with the wire bug, you can see that the sword meter is glowing. This is because for a short period of time, your meter will not go down after using it. Let's do it again. You can use it and go straight into sword mode for some free hits that don't drop your sword mode gauge. And my personal favorite one is the ZL and X wire bug move that we have for now, which pulls you forward and does 3 attacks. Now why this is very amazing, and you can also combo into anything or go straight into sword mode from it, is because this tanks an attack as if it's the greatsword tackle to give you less damage, and it can also go straight through roars. So monster can roar, you can start a fight like this, go into sword, get some damage in, get your hits in, and ZOA out of there. Make sure you have max short sharpness and keep on going. The wire bug moves on the switch axe are actually pretty badass and effective for the weapon and its playstyle. I forgot to mention that when using the wire bugs, if you press ZL and X, you go up into the air, you can attack with the axe or with the sword by pressing ZR. Great way to get straight into the heat of combat with your more powerful damage. Now, keep in mind that if you do it with the axe, you can do the backwards lunge with down and A. It really helps you to reposition if you go a little too far, but once you get used to it, you won't miss. You can also run right off the dog to do the axe or the sword and get the damage going. You can dodge out, do whatever you want, get creative, and develop your own playstyle. Lastly, if you press ZL and A, or ZR, excuse me, you can go towards a monster and do the attack right above the ground, which is a really great way when a monster is down and too far to close the gap and get the hits in and start that combo that we talked about earlier. And lastly, some really quick defensive tips. You cannot block with the switch axe. This means that you want to keep in mind all of your defensive and evasive possibilities. With the axe mode, you'll see that you can run much faster while you walk in the sword mode. You can also notice that every time you attack with the axe mode, you can sidestep to the left or to the right. In sword mode, you can do the same, but you get about 30% less distance in these side dashes. Not too much, but it's enough, and it's there. Also in Axe mode, if you attack, you can roll forward or roll backwards to play defensively. In sword mode, you only sidestep forward and back and side to side. There is no rolling after an attack, so keep that in mind. You can only roll if you're not attacking. In the wild swing animation, I wanted to mention when swinging between weapons. After 3 swings, if you hit ZR, you'll switch into sword mode if you keep pressing the button like we mentioned earlier. But if you hit ZR in sword mode and while holding down, you go backwards instead. It's almost like the wild swing is letting you know in design that the sword mode is more aggressive to approach the monster, and that the axe mode is about backing up and getting hits in safely. Now, with that said, let's dive in to weapon utility. Every time you hit a monster while in sword mode, there's a white gauge that starts to fill around your sword gauge at the top left of the screen that we spoke about earlier. When you fill that bar up to the top, your weapon will start to glow, and you're going to do 2 hits for every attack regardless of which mode you're in. So it's very effective and necessary for you to get to that amped up state. The XNA attack that we talked about actually charges that meter quite a bit as soon as the explosion hits, so you definitely want to try to land it as often as you can. And remember, it's a lot easier if you press A first while in sword mode so that you can go into the XNA discharge quickly. You'll see right here in this clip that I actually managed to fill up the meter while attacking in sword mode. You'll know that you reached it even if you're not paying attention, because electricity will start emanating from your weapon as so. It's important to note that every switch axe has different files associated with them. If it's a power file, you get extra attack, especially in this mode. If it's a paralysis file, you get paralysis damage. Pay attention to the fact that while in this mode, you're doing an extra hit per swing because of the energy emanating from the weapon. Lastly, remember that amazing X and A move at the same time? If you use it while in this mode, you climb onto the monster, hit him for even longer, and do a big explosion for the most powerful move that the switch axe has in its arsenal. So now let's see an example of what it can look like when you put it all together. So I approach the Rathian. The first thing I do is I run in and I jump in with ZR to take out the sword. I do the ZO and X Wirebug Silkbind attack so I can eat that roar and not be affected. I make sure that I stay a safe distance. I'm hitting X and A at the same time, and then I'm switching to sword mode to get the big damage in and to build up the meter on the top left. I was hoping I'd hit the flash bug, and I did. So I wanted to make sure that I took advantage of that opportunity. So I keep swinging. I'm using the axe wild swing. I knew the tail wasn't going to hit me. I hit ZR, and I made the mistake here of not paying attention to the fact that I needed to reload, so I couldn't go into sword mode. But that's okay. I keep on pushing forward, I keep doing damage, and I'm going into sword mode as much and as often as I can. I activated the max potency, that way I can stay getting sword mode even faster. Now I noticed that my sword meter is low and I need to reload, right? So I dodge the tail whip and I press the LNA to get out the way and build up some more sword meter. I want to stay safe and hit from an optimal distance so that I can keep doing damage and take as little damage as possible. I roll out the way with the iframe. I'm actually really hyping this moment of the game. As I told you guys before, I hit ZL and ZR and I dropped immediately by landing a sword attack with ZR. Getting the freaking ride. Y'all already know what's gonna happen. We're gonna bop her head on the wall over and over again, and you'll see that one thing that I did is that I wanted to hold ZL and ZR again to aim towards a part of the monster that I wanted. Now I missed the head. I was aiming for the head. I see that I'm overcharged right now, so I go ahead and I do the A and X button discharge to get on top of her head while she's in the air, bring her down, and boom! It feels so freaking good. I broke her face. I get out the way, I see her about to do a fire blast, so I use the Silkbind move again to tank the fireball and get a hit on her face, make her flinch again! Oh my god, I take a bite, I'm burning, I'm about to die. I realize that I'm pushing it right now because I'm playing like a glass cannon and I have to back up, get safe, and heal up a bit. And this is around the time when she leaves. but my god. And when she roars again, I make sure that I get one more Silkbind attack to get that damage, and then she gets out the area, but I'm pretty sure I made my point. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end of the video, hit that like button. It helps me out a bunch, and I can't wait to build this community with you guys in Monster Hunter Rise. I'm not sure if I should make a Discord. Let me know what weapon you guys would like me to cover next, and if you think I should make a Discord and just try to build something. Well, until next time, guys, wear your crown and live your roar. Later.